had dairy at some point. Between milk, cheese, yogurts, and butter, they're pretty hard to avoid. Since dairy is so big in this country, it's important to know the industry and what you're supporting every time you go and buy a jug of milk. And in today's times, we're very removed from our food sources. We go to the store and buy ready-to-eat food instead of hunting or gardening food, which is normal because we don't have time for that right now. But that doesn't mean you still should be so disconnected from your food sources. I've been taking the dairy husbandry class here as part of my animal science major, so I spent a lot of time at our own dairy unit and also just researching it and learning about it in my classroom. So I'll be giving you guys like a background on dairy, why it's a problem, and what you can do to help make a change in this. So I'm sure all of you have heard about inhumane things happening in like the meat and slaughter industry, but it's a misconception to think that dairy isn't just as bad. This diagram kind of shows the life cycle of a typical dairy cow. The calf is born, grows until she's a little over 1 year old, and that's when she's first bred. She'll be pregnant for about 9 months and give birth, and then the cycle will restart. The cow will produce milk for about 305 days out of the year. She's impregnated every single year to keep making milk, and her body's really never given a break. A 2009 Journal of Dairy Science study by M.V. Strayton did a study on body weight during the milking cycle, and it showed that a cow could lose up to 35% of her body weight just doing this cycle once, because it's just so much work on her body to just be pregnant for that long and be producing that much milk, especially over and over again. It's still a very significant number. Also, cows live in pretty unnatural environments usually. Some dairies keep their cows inside 24/7 with no access to sun. This isn't the case at Cal Poly's dairy, but our cows are like walking on concrete all the time and have no access to grass or like soft ground. So another study in the Journal of Dairy Science by Also talked about locomotion characteristics and depending on like the surface a cow is walking on, and it found that they had like permanent changes in their like step and bone structure just based on the surfaces that they were walking on. So it also was like hurting their legs to be like standing on these different types of structures. Normal cows, like just living in pastures and stuff, can live up to 22 years, but dairy cows, since they're so overworked and weak, they're killed at 4 years old only. So now that you know some stuff about the cows, let's talk about the calves. So calves are basically being born every single day because they needed to keep this industry running, so there's a ton of them. But less than 24 hours after being born, they're separated from its mother forever. They grow up in like rows of cramped pens. This is kind of like Cal Poly's dairy system. You can kind of see how there's like cows in the back. This is one of my favorite cows named Kristen. She's very cute. And this is what it looks like on like a large scale like dairy farm. They grow up like this until they're almost like 6 months, so they're pretty big at that point. Cows in the wild normally form pretty strong bonds with the mother cow. Like they'll nurse and graze with them on pasture for up to 3 years. So it's sad that dairy cows are separated like less than 24 hours because they usually do form a pretty strong bond. The next picture is kind of graphic, but after they're separated at birth, only a week later, cows go through like a dehorning or disbudding process. So what this means is the cow is physically restrained, and they like put a hot iron like onto its scalp to like burn the budding horns and like steer all the nerves there so it won't grow its horns. A study by Fawn Kaiserling from Journal of Dairy Science noted that even with pain relief, which only 25% of dairies use right now, all methods of it cause long-lasting pain. Like some cows won't eat for weeks on end because they're still going through like long-term pain with this. As for the male calves, they're not really needed because they're not going to produce milk. So male calves are just discarded and sold as veals or calf meat after only 1 month of being alive. So yeah, it's a lot to take in. I personally didn't know anything about the dairy industry really until I started taking this class and doing my own research. But in my opinion, dairy is a lot worse than the meat industry because in the end, both cows are slaughtered. But at least in the meat industry, people want like grass-fed meat, so cows are always out in pasture with each other, like grazing their entire life until they're slaughtered. Whereas for dairy cows, they're like hooked up to milking machines, like impregnated every year, and just completely overworked and then slaughtered. So it's sad to learn about, but also very important because now that you guys are informed, you can start trying to make some changes. So I think the most important and one of the smallest things you can do is just do your research into which dairies are more humane than others, because certain dairy companies are better than others, and if more people support the more humane ones, it'll go a long way in the end. A 2019 article named Hart Dairy as the first pasteurized U.S. dairy operation to earn the certified humane designation from HFA. So this happened in 2019, so not even that long ago. But this is a picture from like Hart Dairy. So basically the main change that they made is that their cows were able to graze 24/7 and weren't kept in like concrete structures or like inside or any of that. So it's a more natural living environment and much more humane to the cows. This is also a brand that you might recognize. Stonyfield is a pretty big one. But they don't use RBST, which is like a growth hormone that farmers inject cows with to make them produce an even higher volume of milk during their cycle. So not using this obviously is more natural, and cows aren't pushed as far past the limits. An article in Nation's Business also said that RBST causes reduced pregnancy rates and like higher udder infection. So overall, it just overworks them more, and the bodies just aren't meant to be. So it's better if it's eliminated altogether. You can also go to like the ASPCA website, and they have like a list of like humane certified farms, and these are all the different seals they give them. And you can find information on like chicken, pig, lamb, like all kinds of farms, and dairy included. So just note that like some companies are better than others, and doing your own research and doing your part in this will go a long way. Small things can create big change. We need to make dairy realize that we won't continue supporting this and just buying like the cheap milk because we're okay with how they're treating these animals. The way they treat these cows just as milking machines and not as living, breathing animals should not be the norm. Supporting the most humane dairies is much better than doing nothing and ignoring the